Yes, welcome to Satsang and meditation. And a warm welcome to all the friends that are with us today. Thank you, Paul. It's a very special time on many levels, like on the collective level, but also, for me personally and for the friends of Osho personally. 32 years ago, 2 days ago, Osho left the body, and in case you don't know who Osho is. Thank you. And there are endless stories I could share about meeting this wonderful, crazy, unpredictable master. And so in the West, or in Germany, or in Australia, or in America, the concept of master and disciple is kind of contrary to the ego structure of people. It's like the ego doesn't want to surrender or bow down to another person. That's why that ego has created a god, an invisible guy who sits in the clouds and sees if you do bad things or good things. And so to avoid this division, in India the nature of the guru is very, very much accepted. The guru is the person that has transcended his own personality. And guru means gu, darkness, and ru, light. It is that the one that can take us from darkness to light. And of course our human mind will always project it, at least my mind, when I met Osho in 1980. I and many others were projecting all our desires, the lived ones and the unlived ones, on this master. And from the very beginning, Osho was talking 2.5 hours morning and evening for 35 years, pretty much saying the same thing in thousands of different ways. First, don't follow me. We were all following. Don't follow me. Follow your understanding. We didn't have an understanding, and we thought he has the understanding, so we were following him, not recognizing that what got touched in us through his presence was actually within us. He kept saying it every day. You look for freedom, I don't give it to you. I cannot give you anything. I can only be a presence in which the presence in you starts resonating. So it took me many years, 10 years while he was in the body, and then many more years to slowly admit that he is right. And that is many adventures later, and many experiences later, and many disappointments and heartbreaks later, and many ecstatic experiences later, like a very rich life later. And the last time I saw him was 1989, just kind of late December. And I was traveling to Sweden, and I had a course. And this, somehow when I look at it today, it's quite significant. I was running a course with my wife at the time, a Tantra course, not just for couples, but like an open course around intimacy and specifically sexuality, like sexual deconditioning. And on the last day, morning, it was an incredible process. People were opening and falling in love, and it was a very beautiful and graceful situation. The owner of the venue came and told us that Osho left the body. And somehow nobody was prepared, even though Osho talked about it again and again and again. And he talked about what dies and what doesn't die. And he was an incredible direct example. Like a few days before we had seen him, he looked very fragile on the podium greeting us, not saying anything, just looking at every one of these 3,000-4,000 people in Buddha Hall. And there was so much grace. And Nura and I, the evening before, we had an amazing experience. We had no idea what was happening. We were having a shower, and in the shower there was a moment where it's almost like all the lights go on, like a very powerful lights. And we thought it was because the group went so well and we were happy, and we were just before the last day. So we had all arguments, but we were kind of swimming and bathing in light for the rest of the evening and the whole night through. And the next morning we heard that he had left the body. Sex and death. He talked a lot about this, how similar and how close they are. And according to Osho, and I can relate to that very much, in beautiful lovemaking, that's somehow the only inbuilt possibility in our human psyche where no mind, which is like death, because the only thing that makes us a person is the mind and the body and the beliefs and the thoughts and the emotions and everything that we can experience. But when that stops for a moment, and in a beautiful lovemaking, probably many of you have experienced this, there are moments where you are not there, where the beloved is not there, and where there is something that could never be labeled as something. Many people have tried. They call it the Tao or Buddha nature or presence or awareness or love. All words that point to no thing. Love is not a thing. Joy is not a thing. Presence is not a thing. Existence is not a thing. All these words point towards something that we can call space. Some no thing that holds everything. Can you follow that? I mean, it's impossible to talk about it, but we try, we give it words. Not a thing doesn't mean the absence of presence, but in a way that's what is revealed. So when that news came, at the time I could have died for Osho, really, because I was so gifted over 10 years with him. I couldn't imagine the blessings I've been experiencing. So obviously his death kind of brought up everything that I thought I had transcended already, which is specifically attachment to this being, attachment to this master. It's almost my deepest lover has suddenly left me. That was a very strange idea and experience. And then at the same time, it just ripped my heart open. And I was running a course. I was supposed to be a great course leader. And I just completely wonderfully fell apart. I could just tell the group, you're very welcome to fall apart too. So we had an amazing morning of deep, deep crying. First loss, then grief, then gratitude, then joy, then more love. And I remember there were 24 people, and they had never really heard of Osho before because the center leader, he was against Osho, or maybe they have heard of Osho, but more in a negative way. But after his leaving, after this experience together, everyone got initiated. Everyone wanted to take sannyas and wanted to have the blessings of the Master, and everyone went to Pune. So what was at work there? And somehow when death comes closer, in whichever way, for example, it comes closer collectively through COVID, no? There is a lot of fear around the world. Do I catch it? Will I survive it? Will I make it? No? And many people die, and many people survive. But what the biggest trap of COVID is, in my opinion, is that it's a thought, that it's a force outside that cannot be controlled, which freaks our controlling ego out. So in a way, in one way we could see COVID as a beautiful master to point us to that which is beyond the person, that is beyond the body, beyond everything that we know. And how much, including my mind, including me, how much are we trying to explain in this way or that way, either anti-vax or for-vax or middle-vax and no booster. I mean, there's as many stories around COVID as there are people. And unfortunately, there's a pandemic of mental health through all these negative thoughts. People are lonely, people are desperate, people don't know where they belong, people are afraid to lose their job. I mean, you hear it in the news, it's all fear, and the news is so fantastic, it really fuels fear in people. And perhaps there is a chance through that to absorb and meet the fear raw, with no sugar coating, with no escape, with no argument, and see who we are beyond fear. I remember one of the sayings that stayed with me, like many from Osho, is like the absence of fear, the end of fear is not the absence of fear. The end of fear is the totality of fear totally experienced. That's the end of fear. So we usually don't want to do that. No? We usually kind of use our fear to take a position for or against. No? And we get triggered. Our ego structure gets triggered all the time. No? My ego structure got triggered when the Australian government didn't allow Djokovic to play. What was the reason? The guy had antibodies from his own COVID. So it's a complete manipulation of human mind. And they got me. I got so upset that, okay, that's interesting. I have nothing to do with Djokovic or tennis, not much. But this whole need of the mind to be right, and that's a big arrogance. I think I'm right. He shouldn't have done this. Or I think I'm wrong. Maybe because the immigration minister did it. So, what's real? And then there's something beyond it, and that's what satsang is about. It is, can I see when I'm triggered in my ego? Because that seeing is enough. In that seeing, you see, I see, I'm not my mind, I'm not my body, I'm not my emotions, I'm not my story. I'm not anything I can label. Anybody had that before? Had that insight a little bit? I'm no thing. The ego doesn't like it. If you tell somebody on the street, who are you? And he said, I'm this, I'm a doctor, I'm a therapist, I'm a spiritual teacher. And you say, no, this is all bullshit, you are nothing. What do you mean? Well, there may be a truth in it. No? There may be a big, big truth in it. And when the proximity of death, when we are reminded of death, and we are reminded in dangerous situations, we are reminded when one of our friends gets sick, and a few friends here got sick, and we were really praying that they get healthy again, or when the master has left the body, then there's so many things to discover. Like Osho is as alive or more alive in people's being than when he was in the body. And so many people actually still travel to India or take sannyas in sannyas centers without even knowing what it means or who Osho is. But there's a presence that we want to give it a name until we don't need to give it a name anymore. And in the middle of this, so Osho's leaving the body. What is death? We're all going to die. When? We're all in the queue. When I was 30, I thought 72 is more than enough. I'm 72. Is it enough? Well, maybe it's enough, but I'm happy to live another 30 years. Who knows? But am I ready to die? I think that's a very good question. Somehow I could say yes. With a little suspicion in the back of my mind, then when death really is right there, am I really ready? That's a good question. We don't know until it's there. I mean, I lived in this life at least 20 lifetimes. I should have been dead many, many times with all the adventures. But again, who knows? So, in this regard, some preparation through the master leaving or through my wife dying, she died 7 years ago, or friends getting old and sick. I just received an email today from a very good friend in Japan. He's been an old friend and sannyasin and a fantastic translator. And I actually want to dedicate that satsang tonight to him. His name is Osho, and he's been diagnosed with 2 cancers at the time. One in the stomach and one outside the stomach. And, oh wow, Osho, the beautiful, gentle, loving being. And of course my prayers, and I hope all our prayers are with him tonight when we have a meditation, just to feel him held in trust that whoever he is, whether is in the body or whether the body is kind of reaching its use-by date, that there's something in him that is celebrating, and also a very good chance for healing. Because when we relax into what is, then the whole existence can be a healing force. So, this is for you, Osho. I'm not sure if you are joining us tonight in satsang, but anyway, I will send you a copy of this. And you have all our blessings. You're going to go to the hospital soon, so you have many, many blessings that everything will work out wonderfully, and we will hopefully meet you again many, many times. Now, when I was tuning into the satsang tonight, a beautiful quintessence from Rahasya came. It's light, it's kind of coral, light pink or coral. And the quintessence is called Sanat Kumara and Lady Venus Kumara. And this is a beautiful pointer if we take the tantric teachings, the merging of male and female, and we take that which is beyond form, what we call essence or the Tao or the divine, then Rahasya puts the meaning for Sanat Kumara. Sanat Kumara and Lady Venus Kumara were masters that were never in the body. So obviously there's a dimension, a bodiless dimension that showers on us if we open to that frequency. This is the whole shamanic work. It's like you tune into a certain energy field, a certain energy vibration, and that energy vibration begins to resonate with you. So instead of pulling each other down with negative prognosis of COVID, perhaps we can lift the vibrational field through intention, through different thoughts, through deeper presence, and through love. And Sanat Kumara and Lady Venus Kumara represent, in this case, the divine father energy. And this is not the Christian father that is controlling. This is the divine presence of the male energy. And Lady Venus Kumara, the divine mother energy, the divine feminine energy, which is, of course, both these energies are in man and in woman. And when we tune into this, we are tuning into our own divine essence. If you like the idea of chakras, we are tuning into the crown chakra. Through the crown, we are connected to everything. We are through the crown, we are basically remembering the formless infinity of our being or divinity of our being. And within that divinity appears this wonderful body and mind and soul and whatever we call I. So it's an attunement to this higher vibration, and we have a little ritual with it. So if you could stand up and make your left wrist available. And if you're joining us from overseas, don't worry if you don't have the essence, you can just imagine it and it will happen. And you just follow the guidance. So you will receive 3 drops of Sanat Kumara and Lady Venus Kumara on your left wrist. And then you can rub it into your wrists and close your eyes. And just hold your wrists together for a moment and tuning in, feeling into that vibration. You will also at the same time sense a certain fragrance. The beauty of Arasoma, it works with 3 senses, with fragrance, the sense of smell, color, the sense of seeing, and touch. Allowing your wrists to touch each other. And then you can raise your arms high above the head. Imagine you're growing wings from the core of your spine to your fingertips. Allowing your wings to open and close above your crown. In the opening to the whole infinite universe. This is the quality of Sanat Kumara all around us. Existence is our mother and our father. And in the embracing that inner vastness through the crown, we have access to the inner being that is as vast as the outer sky. So moving your wings through all the layers of your aura above the crown, opening to the infinite and embracing the infinite within. And then opening your wings around the third eye, the forehead center. In the opening, imagine you're pulling aside the curtain of our illusions, of our projections, of our identifications. So we have a glimpse of that which is. And in the embracing that clear capacity to see reality as it is. It doesn't need interpretation. It doesn't need explanation. It is already. When the third eye opens, we say, oh my God, what is. It can't be otherwise. We just leave it like this. Then opening your wings and embracing the throat. And in the opening we can open the curtain of all our beliefs. The throat carries endless amount of beliefs, what we think is right, wrong, good, bad, high, low, religious beliefs, personality beliefs, cultural beliefs. We are not our beliefs. We can watch them. And in the embracing that which is behind or beyond belief, which is the unknown. Pretty much everything in this incredible universe is unknown. And out of the unknown arises all the creativity that we share with the world. True expression can only come from the infinite empty source. And then we can open and close the wings around the heart. And in the opening the curtain of all our shoulds and should nots, all these ideals that we were brought up with, in best intention, hide the natural, spontaneous innocence of our heart. So in the embrace, we can embrace the raw, open, trusting, loving, compassionate heart that we came to earth with. If you look at a baby and then a toddler, you find love and compassion effortless. It's still here behind all our ideals. And let your wings rest over your heart for a moment. Feeling your heart respond to Sanat Kumara and Lady Venus Kumara. And then we can open the wings again and embracing the solar plexus. Here is basically the anchor of our ego. So in the opening, just imagine you can take off your armor, lay down your weapons, allowing all your strategies of defenses to be laid down. And in the embracing your natural uniqueness, your effortless power and strength, and the joy of being yourself. The solar plexus usually carries a lot of unlived negative emotions. This is why we often get a bellyache. So in this opening to the divine, in this opening to Sanat Kumara and Lady Venus Kumara, we can just allow that light to penetrate. It's called the solar plexus, the plexus of the sun, the light, the warmth, the gentleness, the joy. And then opening around the second chakra, the lower belly. And here in the opening, just feel how all the hurts and wounds and everything that we try to hide inside and just trying to open. The moment we open any wound to the sun, to the rain, to the wind, it can heal. Just a covered wound may not heal. So we don't need to be afraid of any fear or hurt or anything. We can absorb it in the infinity of our being. And then open our wings around the first chakra, the root center, opening to this incredible life energy, our physical energy, our sexual energy, that which can move this body-mind into endless directions. And in the embracing this wonderful body, it's a divine body. It's the divine in form. It's Sanat Kumara and Lady Venus Kumara in form. And then around the legs, all the way down, so that you can touch Mother Earth And this is a good moment to completely let go. Let go anything you know, anything you hold, anything you believe. Let it all go. Just dare to be empty for a moment. An offering to Mother Earth. And now as you come up, you can unwind your wings around each other in a backward spiral all the way up. For a moment, standing with your wings open, feeling Sanat Kumara and Lady Venus Kumara as a energy field of light and compassion, of presence and love, of awareness and warm-heartedness. And then you can bring your palms together and your wrists close to your nostrils, and taking 3 deep breaths of this fragrance into the temple of the body. Very good. And then we can sit. So I'd like to dedicate the light of the candle today to Osho and to Tosho. Yeah, both Buddhas. One, a Buddha without a body, the other a Buddha with a body that can easily heal. So to Osho and to Tosho. And then let's just sit a little bit. You close your eyes. Whatever is being touched by what has been said, or whatever is moving in your mind, whenever you have the choice, and you have the choice pretty much every time you're alert, is that we bring our attention in this meditation to the field of awareness, the space of awareness. Or we could say the space or the field of love. It's maybe more appealing for the feminine. And whatever arises in love, in awareness, can arise. We can be completely choiceless. We usually don't have much control of our thoughts. So let the thoughts be like clouds that come and go. Who we are is not concerned. So we don't need to reject any thought or any cloud. We don't need to attach to any thought, any cloud. We don't need to change it. Just whenever we have the choice, we can rest as love. We can rest as awareness. And we can use the help of the breath. The breath naturally moves in and out. And in the in and out movement is life. So breath is life. And we can now allow each in-breath to be an expansion, and then each out-breath a letting go into that ever-expanding field of awareness, field of love. We're going to sit for about 15 minutes, just watching. limitless peace. Feel this silence. Feel how deeper than story, than body, than mind, we are connected. Everything is connected. Just like the sky connects everything that appears in the sky. Allow that vastness let go, totally let go. And from that depths inside, you can take a deeper breath. Very gently, just feel how we move from the formless and gently become aware of the form, but the formless is still there. With another deep breath. Until you're ready to open your eyes to a completely new moment here. And another deep breath and a good stretch. Yes, so we can open this a little bit if the friends that are with us online, if there's anything you would like to share or ask, and the friends here in the room, if there's anything you want to say or report or ask, this is maybe a good moment. And Steve is here, he will read your comments online. Please feel free.
What
Yes.
was the greatest gift or teaching from Osho to you?
Steve is asking what is the greatest gift that I received from Osho's teachings. I cannot say one single gift. It's like the greatest gift is that what I was looking for, since I could think, I gave it I gave it a name at the time. I gave it the name freedom, and I gave it the name love, and I thought it's through relationship. And I could say the greatest gift is freedom. But a very different freedom than the human freedom to do what you want. That is part of it. But to recognize that that which is aware in me and in you and in everybody has never been bound. Bound has never been unfree. For me, I had a very freedom-loving father, so my father was very unconventional, so we were traveling so much in my youth, and I was growing up on a boat and growing up in the Swiss mountains. And we were always somehow on a kind of adventure, and my father was kind of this restless freedom searcher that was way before his time. Now it is, his life is not so extraordinary, but at the time he was one of the few people that just didn't conform with anything or any outer power. So I went into these footsteps, thinking I'm free when I travel a lot or when I can climb. I had a kind of an ambition to climb the highest mountains in every country. It didn't quite manage, but quite a few. So that was not, that was kind of fulfilling certain desires, but it wasn't freedom. So freedom, one of the greatest gifts, and then gratitude to the miracle of life. Incredible gratitude and also joy. I don't know if you just noticed when we were sitting here silently and coming back to the surface of meditation, the whole existence started to chant. No? The kookaburras, the frogs, and some more animals, they all kind of were tuning in. It's almost like players in a concert. No? Singing the joy of existence. So what I also was given is the joy of the little things in life, just sitting here listening to the night animals, or the waves, or the wind, or the rain. And often coming to a place where there's no desire, everything is already fulfilled. But that's a few of the many, many gifts. Basically my whole life, I would never be here in Australia without Osho. I would never, I cannot even imagine. I would be kind of a little bit of a narrow-minded, nice children's doctor somewhere in a small practice in Germany. No? It was possible, but wasn't my destiny. No?
Rahasya, do you think Osho was part of your destiny?
Must have been, because we think we are the doers, but there's something much, much bigger that moves through us when we surrender. It's like when I was younger. I mean, there's a few things that I could call divine interventions. I always loved traveling, but why would a 21-year-old student want to take a Volkswagen bus and drive all the way from Munich to India and back? I mean, there was no logic in it, and all the friends were saying you're totally crazy and stupid and it's dangerous, and that's what in India was calling. Why did I, when we crossed the border from Pakistan to India in 1971, I think July, it was pouring rain, much more than here now. It was monsoon. We came into the first Indian village, and there were 100 or 200 Indian people that have never seen a Volkswagen bus, and 3 German boys. They glued their face to the window, and it felt a little bit shaky because they were so curious about us. And I was crying like a child. I felt I'm home. And it was so illogical because every outer circumstance were pretty much terrible. We were wet, we didn't have a place to sleep, like all the sleeping bags were wet. We were surrounded by endless people that didn't let us leave, and I was, I'm home. And many trips to India later, or to Nepal later, I thought I was seeking high mountains, but I was seeking my inner freedom, and somehow it was connected, the Himalayas and then India. When the trekking season ended, then the next best thing is go from Nepal to India, and then we heard about Osho, and it felt like whatever carried my life was definitely not that little me, that little ego thing. At first I believed that. So many gifts, infinite gifts. All the friends, all the people that I've been working with would never have done that without Osho. The gratitude when the beings open to presence and love. I'm sure everybody has this, if you're sitting here and you have a deep conversation with somebody, and suddenly something like a light goes on in both of you simultaneously, where behind the conversation that just carries the surface, something gets transmitted that you feel so blown away by. Can you relate to what I'm saying? It's like you hear that. And these situations always come unplanned, unexpected, unprepared. So to learn the acceptance of the unprepared. And of course, nobody of us is prepared for the body leaving. I mean, we can prepare by meditating, but really, can we demystify death? I think that is probably the greatest gift that death can give us. It happens for sure, so we don't need to worry, it's going to happen. And can I allow that mystery when the time has come? So everything in life seems to be also a preparation for that, for the peak of life. And the animals, the creatures, they love this. No? There's more and more noise around us. Right? Yes. Anything that people write us?
Thomas Hagerström says, Gate Gate Paragate Bodhi Swaha.
Yeah. That's one of the beautiful mantras. Thank you. Gate Gate. Gate Gate is going, going. Yes, we are all going, going. But we don't know where we are going. And so far, first in life, we go out, we go out, we go out, and we go seeking. And we think liberation is out there. And that implies that liberation is later. It is future. And we get so wonderfully fooled, looking for something that cannot exist, because the only reality is now. So when we look for a better moment later outside of us, we never find it. We may find many things, but not what we thought we should find. So Gati Gati is when we turn our attention around, looking in. And first we, for those of you who have done meditation or therapy or other explorations, inner experiences, and they become richer and richer, and you find every level of experience that you think frees you is just another doorway to something more spacious, more vast, more open, more present, more simple, more natural, more loose, more real. Gati Gati, Paragati. Going, going. And then Parasamgati, going beyond everything we know. Bodhisvaha. In that beyond that the mind cannot grasp anymore, that the ego cannot grasp anymore, that our thinking mind cannot grasp anymore. Bodhisvaha, the Buddha is, what is the Buddha? The Buddha is not a person, a form, a thing. Our Buddha nature is revealed. The Tao is revealed. And it's not very far, it's right here, right now. Sitting in the concert of night creatures. Let's chant this. Let's see if I can find it. There's a beautiful version of Gate Gate Parasamgati Bodhisvaha. And when you chant it in that slowness that Deva Premal chants it with. And just feel that with each gati you go a little bit deeper within and allow your voice to come with it. Udi Swaha. Yes, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you. Namaste. Be well. And Osho, lots of healing to you. Be well. And thank you for being with us tonight.